Hi, everyone, and welcome to Milestone 1 of the Data and Research Methods Project organized by the National Student Data Corps. My name is Lauren, and I am a part of the NSDC project team. In this video, I'm going to walk you through milestone number 1, which is found in document A of your project packet. As always, there is a button here for a demo video. That's the video that you're watching right now. You will find several of these demo videos throughout documents A through G. They're here to help you work through the project document with assistance from our team. So about the city of Data Lake, West Dakota. Here are a handful of things that you should know about your hometown of Data Lake. These facts may inform your final recommendations to Mayor Elation and her team, or they may not, depending on whatever research question that you ultimately pick. So here we'll go through some of these points. Data Lake's population, which is 314,159 residents, has grown by 20,471, which is about 6.5% since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in spring 2020. Of that group, 59% are adults of working age, so between the ages of 18 and 67, 23% are children, so they're below the age of 18, and 18% are adults who are retired, so they're over 67. Many of Data Lake's remote workers say that they relocated to this area to achieve a higher quality of life. They selected Data Lake specifically because of the city's close proximity to Random Forest National Park, which is about 20 miles away. The adult newcomers to Data Lake are 49% female, 8% male, 3% identify as non-binary, and 63% are either currently employed or actively seeking employment. Okay. While the population growth has given Data Lake a larger tax base to draw from, the city's physical infrastructure, which includes transportation, housing, schools, police, local health, and business, are looking to the mayor's office for guidance on how to appropriately scale up and meet the needs, the ever-increasing demand for public services. Okay. This influx of new community members reverses a longtime trend for Data Lake and many other medium-sized cities across the US, population shrinkage. In previous years, Data Lake lost an average 2 to 3% of its population annually as citizens moved to larger cities in pursuit of greater educational and employment opportunities. Data Lake has a diverse economy. The largest employers in the area are regional hospitals, city schools, local banks, insurance companies, and a car manufacturing plant. Many of the remote workers that have newly relocated to Data Lake work in technology, 31%, or digital marketing and sales, which is 27%. Data Lake's new mayor, Tessellation, was elected on a platform which emphasized job growth and revitalization of the city's business district. While campaigning, she stated that her team would be using data-driven insights to recommend adjustments to the city's annual budget of $600 million. Our goal for this project is to give her at least 2 data-driven insights about the lives, needs, and habits of remote workers that the office of the mayor can adopt for public policy. Okay, so that was a lot of information, but this section up here should actually be really helpful by the time that we finish out the project. We can use some of the data points that are in here in combination with the findings that we'll get from our analysis of the CDC's data to come up with a specifically tailored set of recommendations for the town of Data Lake. That's great. This sets us up really well for the DRM project. And we can always come back later to this section. We just have to dig into the actual data first. So let's begin milestone number 1. Here we're going to be tackling preliminary research, and this should take you about 2 hours to complete. Of course, before we do anything related to data, we need to first learn a bit about how COVID itself has changed the modern work landscape. This will help us make very specific recommendations to the mayor and her policy team. We'll spend the first milestone diving into the current state of modern work culture in the US. And this process, which we call desk research, will help us in the next stages of the project when we identify patterns in our data set. All right, so task number 1, this is for you to do. spend some time reading through the following news articles on the modern American workforce. And I've provided here a list of a bunch of different articles for you to read. What I would say here is that I even put this in a note. You may at this stage be tempted to use AI to summarize these articles for you. I strongly encourage you not to do this. You will learn more, you will retain the details better if you read these articles yourself. You're going to need that detailed subject matter expertise, is what we call it, when you move into the future milestones. This piece, this first task, will set you up really well to start picking out of the data the small pieces of information that you're going to need. You want to start thinking even here about how to combine these little facts that you'll pick up with some of the material that we just learned about the city of Data Lake. So read through these articles, and when you've done that, your next task will be to do a bit of your own desk research. Desk research essentially refers to research that you can do at your own computer as opposed to, say, in a lab or through a survey of your original data set. What we'll ask you to do is find 3 other news articles on this topic of remote work from reputable news sources and outlets that you want to share with the fictional mayor, right? Put a link to those 3 resources below. And I would finally say, just try to keep those articles current, meaning that they're less than 12 months old. Anything that you think is interesting or relevant, drop them into this document. This task is really just meant to help you establish a baseline knowledge of how remote work is impacting the American economy today in 2025. Go ahead and work on task number 2. I'm going to pause the video, come back when you're done with your desk research, and we'll dive into task 2. See you in a bit. All right, welcome back to milestone number 1. Now that you've completed task 1, we're going to dive into task 2, which is about summarizing your desk research. It says here, our fictional coworker Soren, who's a project manager, asks you to write a 6 to 7 sentence summary, or a set of bullet points is fine, on the current state of remote work. This is essentially a task where we want to reiterate what we just did in task number 1. We want to make sure that we answer the following questions in our summary. What are researchers asking about remote work? What kinds of work tend to have remote employees? What data is currently available on this topic? What questions do we have based on our initial research? Like, what gaps were there in the articles that stick out to us as data scientists? Again, it would be very tempting at this stage to use AI to write your summary. I'm going to strongly encourage you not to cheat yourself at this stage. You will learn more, you will retain more information if you do this manually. Trust yourself and your ability to think critically about this complex issue. All right. When you're done with your research summary, Soren will ask you to share how remote work has impacted other cities. So list here 3, maybe 4 findings about remote work that will be useful for our, quote, fictional colleagues to understand. I've provided a sample finding for you here. So I wrote, remote workers are choosing to live in small or mid-sized cities for a variety of reasons, including greater work-life balance, which we know is true, right, from our intro material on the city of Data Lake, better cost of living, access to outdoor spaces, and possibly even to benefit from some cities' moving incentive programs. And then I provided a source for that statement. This is having a positive impact on these cities' tax base and can help revitalize areas that were previously experiencing brain drain. Great, so that is a specific and very interesting insight. Already we're starting to think about how Data Lake has these public parks. It's next to a lot of outdoor spaces. It can be really attractive to remote workers. We also know that brain drain is a problem that Data Lake has experienced in the past. So we can look to this resource, see what other parallels there are between our fictional city and other US cities post-COVID. So our research at this point should be making you think really big. We want to observe the broader landscape. We want to feel like we have the right context for our analysis. So I'm going to pause the video again, come back here when you're done with task number 2, and we will wrap up our first milestone. Great job, everyone. You are now done with milestone number 1 of the DRM project. Next time, we're going to transition over to milestone number 2, and we're going to focus on finding and sourcing quality data. Head over to the next page in document A, and we'll get started. I'll see you in a bit.